Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1996 Chevy Corvette Collector's Edition. Up front is a 5.7 liter V8, and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this C4 for two reasons. First of all, it's a manual V8 Corvette. As you guys know, I am celebrating Corvette Week here on my channel and driving a lot of Corvettes. But the second reason is the fact that the Collector's Edition was a rare edition, limited to about 5,000 vehicles. But there were two special edition C4s built for the end of the C4 run, this and the Grand Sport. And as you saw on the channel, I just reviewed a Grand Sport. So I'm excited to share with you the other Collector's Edition of the C4 Corvette. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that LT4 5.7 liter under the hood. Well, that was a special engine. It was only done here for the Collector's Edition or for the Grand Sport. It makes 330 horsepower, and basically it was an LT1 that got some hop-up parts to make it a little bit more powerful, about 30 more horsepower, so much so that they ended up calling it the LT4 as opposed to just an upgraded LT1. It is plenty of power for anything that you want to do. As a sports car, it's perfect. It's not too much to really get away from you, but it's also really, really fun. Really fun! And this is a driver's car, man. It is so lovely here today. Just cruising the back roads. Oh, how great it is. Now, like I said, paired to it is that 6-speed manual transmission. A lot of the Collector Series cars use the automatic because they were put into collections or just kind of as a celebration car. But this actually had the optional 6-speed, so that makes it a lot rarer than the standard 5,000 cars. And let me tell you, it is the way to go. It is a really, really lovely throw, very confident, and it's just overall really, really great. I love it so much. Down into third, down into second, nice and easy, go. The only thing I don't like about the transmission, and it might be circumstantial to this particular one, but it does keep trying to shove me into 5th gear when I go second to third. I don't know why it has a vendetta against 3rd and 4th gear, but it tries to shove me right into 5th. So, something to note. Last but not least, of course, the Corvette is rear-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the C4 Collector's Edition? It's wonderful. Like I said, it's a really good amount of power. It's not anything barn-burning, but it's also enough to have fun. The ride quality of this particular car is actually pretty soft because it is so old. It should have a lot more rigid of a ride, but it actually doesn't, which is helping me out in my favor. And it's definitely not as aggressive as the Grand Sport. The Grand Sport did get upgraded suspension to really make it more of a driver's car. This didn't get that suspension upgrade from the factory, and so normally it is a little bit softer. Age has just also softened it up even more. Visibility is great, especially with the roof off here today, so can't hate on that. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a bunch of gauges. Off to the left is a tachometer. In the center is a digital readout. Love to see that. Very, very cool. And off to the right, we have our oil pressure, oil temperature, coolant temperature, and battery voltage. On the steering wheel, we get an airbag, but that's it. No other special badging, buttons, nothing. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent. We have our traction control off button. We have headlights, fog lights, power mirrors, and power windows. And then back on the door, we have the latch to get in and out and the locks. Moving into the center, we have our trip monitor and a little bit of information buttons here. Really, really love that. This dead-looking panel off to the right is actually all of your warning lights. So the warning lights are not found in the gauge cluster. They're actually found in the center of the car, which is kind of weird, kind of not what we would expect here today. We do have our climate controls, temperature off to the left, where to send it down below, fan speed off to the right, and it does actually have auto fan speed, which is very, very nice. We, of course, do have a radio down below, our Delco Gold Series radio. And moving into the center, we have the shifter off to the left, of course. Like I said, very confident, very good, very lovely shifter. But off to the right, just for the collector's edition, we get this plaque that says LT4 with the cubic inch, horsepower, torque, and compression ratio. Why I would ever need to know this, or need to know it at a moment's glance, or have it be so important that it needs to be printed on the interior of the car is beyond me. But here it is, in case you wanted the specs of the car on speed dial. Now, of course, under that unnecessary label are cup holders. We'll do a big friggin' bottle test. These cup holders are so tiny, they won't even fit regular bottles, let alone the big friggin' bottle. Then we do have our seat adjustments. So very interesting. It does have power seat adjustments for both the driver and the passenger. However, you actually flick this little switch, and that will help decipher if you're adjusting the driver's seat or if you're adjusting the passenger seat. Kind of a weird little thing there. Then we do get a center console. You'll find the trunk release in there, as well as a Torx bit to take the roof off. So as you'll notice, I do have the roof off here today. It's actually a sunny day, and Chris let me borrow his 70s style glasses to really fit the mood. But you actually have to unscrew the top. There's 4 bolts for it, which I find to be obnoxious. But if you want the top off, you can do it. It's just gonna take you quite a few minutes, and possibly a friend too. Now, we'll talk about the seats. As I said, they are very, very adjustable, power adjustable at that. And being a bigger guy, about 270 pounds, 5'11", I fit in here pretty well. I could see if you were any taller, it might be a little bit of an issue, but if you're under 6 foot, I wouldn't worry too much. Now, we don't have any back seats, but we do have a trunk, so let's go talk about that. All right, we're on the back of the 96 Corvette, and I wanted to show here, this is it with the roof off. So you can remove the top. There's actually 4 locations where it screws in. You can actually see the bolt still hanging out in there. The bolt stays in there, but you actually have to unscrew it, and there is a contraption back here to put it in. So you actually slide it into those slots, and then there's this like sort of plunger thing that actually grabs onto the top itself. So I'll show you underneath here. You do get a fair amount of cargo space down there when the top isn't in. Obviously, when you put the top in, it cuts down quite a bit on the cargo space. I'll show a clip here of it out. Very, very nice cargo space around the back, but I did want to show how the Targa top actually snaps in. You push this forward, and there you go. That's the rear cargo space of the C4 Corvette. Now we gotta talk about the looks. The collector edition just came in this silver. This is called Sebring Silver Metallic after the Sebring racetrack, and I like it a lot. Now, you could option the collector's edition with a blood red interior. Unfortunately, this particular one does not have that, but that was an option you could seek out. And I think it's really handsome. I think it looks more modern than 1996, which is always a good thing, and especially when celebrating the end of a car, it's nice to sort of carry that legacy a lot further into the future because it looks more modern. But at the end of the day, I like the C4 a lot. I think the C5 is still one of my favorite designs of the Corvette, but this one ain't too shabby, and let's be honest, when you squint, they look the same. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think not only driving the collector's edition, but comparing it to the Grand Sport? Well, I like this thing a lot. Here we are, it's a sunny day, and you just row it through the gears, and it just responds. It's everything you want. That power number is great. Again, I keep going back to it, but I feel free. I don't feel restricted in any way. It has plenty of power for me to have fun, but it's also not this egregious amount of power that makes me upchuck my lunch like some of the C6 Z06s that I've driven. Or in a few days, you'll see my video of a cammed C6. It was too much for me to really, truly enjoy. Anytime I hit the loud pedal, I was doing triple digits and was on the verge of getting thrown in the county jail. But this, I can be out here, you know, there's not many people out here, not a lot of traffic. Down into second, go. And that's it. that's all she wrote, and that's all that I need. It's such a lovely driver's car, and I think you really need to start paying attention to these on the secondhand market. If you want a Miata, these kind of go for like good Miata prices, and you're gonna have double, nearly triple the horsepower. Well, if we're doing like NANB, yeah, triple the horsepower. Still get somewhat of a convertible experience. Honestly, this is the most convertible experience you really need. And it's just a really complete package. It's lovely. It's fantastic. Now, comparing it to the Grand Sport, the major difference with the Grand Sport and the Collector's Edition is the fact that the Grand Sport got the ZR1 wheels and brakes and suspension. So that's gonna ride a little bit harder. It's gonna be a lot more of a track-oriented vehicle, and you'll notice these little fender flares on the Grand Sport. That was just for the Grand Sport because of its wider tires. The Collector's Edition doesn't have that. It actually has a smaller wheel, where this has 285 tires at the back. The Grand Sport had 315. So you lose out on a little bit of tire, but having driven both vehicles almost back to back, I honestly, in the driving that I'm doing, I'm not missing the little bit extra tire. I'm sure it would be nice on a racetrack, maybe, but here, some back road cruising, you're not gonna miss the slightly wider tires. You're not even really gonna miss the brakes because I'm just not on them all that much. But you're still gonna get the same LT4, making the same amount of power. You're still gonna get that optional 6-speed that's lovely. You're still gonna have the open top Corvette experience, and you're not gonna pay the Grand Sport premium. They made a lot fewer Grand Sports than they did special editions. So these are more readily available, easier to find, and you still get 99.9% of the Grand Sport experience. Now, if we were to compare it to the ZR1, it's a different story, but I think these are really slept on because they have great upgrades over the standard base Corvette. However, you do have to be a little bit cautious just because the Collector's Edition could have the LT4 or the LT1. So double check before you book your plane ticket to Oklahoma to pull one out of a barn that it does in fact have the LT4 and not the LT1. Not that the LT1 is bad in any regard. You just want the LT4. At the end of the day, I might not know you personally, but I know that you want the LT4. Because to be honest, I want an LT4. I want an LT4 kind of bad. It's so great. I love everything about this. I always say I am not a Corvette fan until I get behind the wheel, and I always snap right back into it and go, oh yeah, this is kind of an awesome car. Oh, and this is no different. It is so incredibly awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Chris for letting me borrow his Collector's Edition C4 here today. Chris has not only been a longtime friend, he's been a huge help to the channel over the years, but also a really good friend, a great person to know, and I'm very appreciative that we were able to make this work because this is just, what a cherry automobile. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.